I've just made like £300 profit for that one sale. And although I'd done all the work to get to this point to set the business up, at the time while that money was being generated, I was doing something completely different. So it could have been anything that I was doing at the time.
A lot of listeners to this are probably thinking, okay, fine. You decided you wanted to do this. You jumped in, you started the business, you followed a program so you weren't wasting thousands of your own money to try to figure it out the hard way from trial and error. But when was the first turning point? Like, what was the major success that you encountered? It doesn't have to be major, but just like, what was something that you thought, oh, wow, this works. Like, I think I'm onto something here. I've achieved something here and I'm going to stick with it.
Sure. So yeah, I think my first sale and subsequently the sales that came later was that proof of concept that I was on the right track. And like you say, I went through that journey where it was an emotional journey to start with because I had the right foundations in place. Then I was logical about it and took it from that emotional place to work out where I wanted to go. But even then, you still need the proof of concept. You still need to see things work to know that you're on the right path. And that's what happened when I saw my phone buzz. I didn't see it buzz. Like, I got back to my phone. It was in my car for my first sale. And I looked at the Shopify notification that was for about £1,000. It was the first sale from memory. And that's when it really starts to sink in that I was doing something else at the time. I was working in the 9-to-5 job and I saw that sale notification. And it was just that realization that the work I'd put in was absolutely getting me to this moment where I've just made like £300 profit for that one sale. And although I'd done all the work to get to this point to set the business up, at the time while that money was being generated, I was doing something completely different. So it could have been anything that I was doing at the time. And that showed me that I was on the right track. It showed me that those sales that were coming in, and they started to come in then for £1,000, £2,000, it taught me that this is clearly something that is really going to be scalable, that I was on the right track. I was starting to generate some money for myself and for my business. And I knew that I could just build on that from that moment there. And I knew to continue with the momentum, I knew that it was going to be important to celebrate those wins along the way. Your first sale, it's a big moment. So I celebrated that. And each time I got a new sale or a new supplier on board, I celebrated those wins because there's these highs and lows throughout the whole business journey. But it's important to give yourself, the motivation to continue by patting yourself on the back, realizing when you've done something really, really cool, like sign a new supplier or make a few sales. And it really taught me, that you need that motivation to keep you going. Then my first real major achievement with my business had to be, a few months down the line where I was then able to leave my 9-to-5 job. So it was from these high ticket sales that kept coming. They were coming at a faster rate. I was able to increase my ad spend. And I'd always set it for myself that as soon as I had matched or beaten my income from my 9-to-5 job for at least 3 months in a row, that was the moment I knew I had the confidence to then hand in my notice at my 9-to-5 job and go all in on my business. And I reached that, just a few months after starting Dropship Unlocked. And suddenly I had that freedom. So, talking about celebrating wins, the biggest win, no doubt, after starting the business was the first Monday morning when I had left my 9-to-5 job. And suddenly it was Monday morning and I knew that this was the start of a completely new chapter for the rest of my life. And I knew that I'd done my last day in a 9-to-5 job. And now I was the master of my own destiny. I could work on what I wanted to work on. And that was incredibly liberating, freeing feeling. I was absolutely on the way to that freedom and the success that I've defined before. So yeah, it was amazing. And the way I told my manager is a good story. I remember pulling him to one side and saying that we need to have a one-to-one. And he said he just knew. As soon as I said that, he just knew that I was leaving because I would never ever pull him to one side to ask for a one-to-one before. So I sat down with him in this meeting room and I was able to say, look, I hadn't said at the time, but I've been creating this business along the side. It's going really well. And now that's the path I want to take. It's nothing wrong with the job I was in at the time. It's just that I really wanted to pursue this business, really take it seriously and go full time. Ever since that day, I've never looked back. Don't ever see myself working in a 9-to-5 job again. And yeah, since then I've had much more control over my own life.
So you've seen your phone in the car with that £1,000 notification from Shopify from a sale and realizing I've just made £300 profit here and realizing that hang on a sec, whilst that happened, you're in your job, trading your time for money, still in the 9 to 5, when you could have been anywhere in the world doing anything with your time. And as you know and said, your success for you is freedom. So it starts to, again, it's very rational the way you think, and it's very kind of stage by stage. I like that you celebrated that first win, but you didn't get ahead of yourself and say, I've made a sale, I'm throwing in the towel on my day job, I'm quitting. You used that income to supplement it. You worked evenings, weekends on your business, and got to the point where you, like you said, you'd matched or beaten your income for 3 months straight, and then said, at that point, I'm going all in. I love it. And hitting that milestone a few months later, it must have been a great morning when you handed in your notice and said to your manager, I need that 1-to-1. The look on their face must have been like, what? How have you done this? How have you escaped the golden handcuffs, the shackles that we're all kept in throughout life?